Hey guys, welcome back to Shep Talk and welcome back to another Shep Talk movie review. Before we get into that movie review though, a couple admin notes if you haven't done so already. I do have social media. All those links will be in the description down below, so if you want to stay up to date with what I'm doing, follow me on Twitch. Well, you can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram to stay up to date with what I'm doing, what I'm seeing, and where I'm going to next. Also, if you haven't done so already, make sure you go and subscribe to my other channel, Darth Shep Gaming. That is where you're going to get all my gameplays, my VODs from Twitch. It's going to be on Darth Shep Gaming, so make sure you go check that channel out, guys. But now, let's get back to my review of Flamin Hot. Flamin Hot was directed by Eva Longoria and was directed by Louis Colic, Linda Yvette Chavez, and Richard Montanez, the guy that invented Flamin Hot. Flamin Hot stars Jesse Garcia, Annie Gonzalez, Emilio Rivera, and Tony Shalhoub. Flamin Hot has a runtime of 1 hour and 38 minutes. Quick synopsis. Richard Montanez, working as a janitor at Frito-Lay, takes a chance, takes a risk, and introduces part of his Mexican heritage. Flamin Hot is the true story, or based on the true story of Richard Montanez and the struggles he had making it as a kid, making it as an adult, and becoming something that we all wish for, making it big, succeeding in life, succeeding in work. Richard was a hardworking individual dealing with the racism of the 1980s and 1990s when all he wanted to do was have a good job and provide for his family. Yeah, to do that though, he had to do and join certain things that, society frowns upon. But he was a man that decided to take the chances he needed to provide for his family, no matter what the risk or the consequences were. That is all that mattered for him, is family. And he did what he needed to do to make sure his family had food on the table and a roof over their head. One of the reasons that he was able to do what he did was because Richard was always curious. He always wanted to know how things worked or how things ran. He wasn't satisfied with being just a janitor. He was looking ahead. He was like, I don't want this job right now. Yes, it provides for my family. But what can I do to make my family better, provide better for my family? And that was his curiosity. He knew that he had to move forward in life to be able to provide or give to his family that better life than what he had growing up. But yes, even saying that, in the beginning, he was overly enthusiastic and maybe a little too eager to do things or make sure things were done really well done or really quickly. And of course, with his new coworkers, that didn't always sit well, because now you're showing up, your coworkers are just there to do their job, make the money, and go home. But Richard was never satisfied with that. He wanted to be good at what he was doing, but then also wanted to make sure he was doing good enough to make it to the next level. I never thought I really wanted to know the ins and outs of Frito-Lay or how things worked at Frito-Lay, but coming along the ride with Richard to be introduced to Frito-Lay as Richard was introduced to Frito-Lay was fun and interesting. I loved seeing how the plant was run, what the steps were, what the processes were, and even kind of like how the cliques were set up back in the day. It was fun and exciting. I could probably watch a documentary or a movie or a series that went more in depth about how Frito-Lay was set up, how it was run, and what the production was kind of like. And that's the kind of energy that you got from this movie, was that he was this person that really didn't have a lot of experience, but he was willing to learn and never let no stop him. And one of the things I like about this movie was that it wasn't always cut and dry. Obviously it does turn out good for him in the end, but we do get to see that struggle from the very beginning to even when he is making it. It is not always, as soon as stuff turned on, it wasn't like he was automatically shot to the top. People were still in his way, still trying to stop what he was trying to do. But lucky for him, he had determination. He had the fire in him to do what he needed to do to make sure that he wasn't stopped. And he used all the resources, his local community, his co-workers, everybody and everything around him, to make sure that his dream was a success. I'm going to say this, and this is really kind of letting you guys see into me for now. The last 2 years, I dated a Latina, and she kind of introduced me into the world. Like, I knew about Flamin' Hot Cheetos. But I wasn't really into that spice stuff. I really wasn't into trying new and spicy foods. She got me to try all kinds of spicy stuff. So this movie, I understand where this movie is coming from and what it means to that culture too, because seeing her and even some of the people around her and what it meant to them, and just trying all the new flavors when they came out. Like, I swear to God, every time there was a new chip, especially a spicy chip, we tried it. She got me to do the one chip challenge as well, which I probably would never have done if she didn't, want to do it or encourage me to do it, or, pester me to do it. So I can see how this was very important, especially in the time in the 90s or 80s and 90s, when the chip aisle was probably really, really bland. There was only a few kind of chips out there, and I think, Doritos is probably the only closest thing you could get to, like, that kind of a chip with nacho cheese, but it's not like it was spicy. There was no spicy chips on the market until Richard came along and introduced the spice that we know and love today. It is everywhere. They just recently made a Mountain Dew called Flamin Hot. It wasn't that good, but they made it. It is now $1 billion industry. And this movie is really a heartfelt movie. It is really well done, in my opinion. But I think Disney is doing this movie a disservice. One, it's not out in theaters. It's on Hulu. Two, it was released in June. You just had Spider-Man 2 come out, Across the Spider-Verse, that is putting every other movie out there to shame. Transformers just came out. The Flash is about to come out. So even though you put this on a streaming platform where more people can watch it, it's in a part of the time right now where there are so many popcorn blockbuster summer movies out there that this movie is probably not even going to be a blip on the radar. And it's sad, because this movie is good, it has heart, and it tells the story of putting something from a different culture into the market that never would have seen it otherwise. And so to have this put in on June and not even really be advertised that well, I feel sorry for this movie, because it deserves so much more. It needs to be put out there. Sadly, I think it'd been better if it waited to the fall, but that's Oscar season, so maybe it should have gone out in January to March time frame, and that time frame where there's no real good movies or hardly any good movies. So this movie could have shined a little bit better. But with that being said, guys, Shep Talk is going to give Flamin Hot 4 Sheps out of 5. What did you think, guys? Have you seen this movie? Are you a fan of the Flamin Hot Frito-Lay line? I know I enjoy them from time to time, but I am definitely not one of those people that will pick it off the shelf every time I'm looking for a chip. My go-to chip really is the sweet and spicy Doritos. I know that's a different brand, but that is usually my go-to chip. What is your go-to chip when you go to the market or when you go to like a 7-Eleven? But guys, that is all I have time for today. Thank you for watching. If you haven't done so already, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. It does help my channel out greatly, and I do truly appreciate it. But that is all I have time for today, guys. And I'll see you in the next review.